Captain Sarah Chen stared at the massive alien vessel through the observation deck of the ESS Pioneer, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration ship. Well, advanced was a relative term. Right now, their antimatter containment system was failing, leaving them stranded in an unexplored sector of space. "Engineering, please tell me you have good news," she said into the comm. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez's voice crackled back, tinged with frustration. "Unless you count, we have about 6 hours before total containment failure as good news, then no. We've tried every trick in the book, and some I just made up." Sarah ran her fingers through her short black hair, a habit that had only gotten worse since taking command. The Pioneer was Earth's first true deep space vessel, designed to push the boundaries of human exploration. Now it looked like those boundaries were about to push back. "Captain, the alien vessel is hailing us," Lieutenant Park announced from his communication station. "Well, that's either really good or really bad timing. Put them through." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that looked like an artful blend of insectoid and avian features. Its iridescent scales shifted colors as it moved, and multiple compound eyes studied the human bridge crew with obvious disdain. "I am High Commander Vextrix of the Galactic Conclave vessel Eternal Light," the alien announced in perfect English, courtesy of their universal translator. "Your primitive vessel is in violation of Conclave space. Prepare to be boarded and escorted to the nearest detention facility." Sarah bit back a sigh. Of course, their first alien contact would be with space cops. "High Commander, I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earthship Pioneer. We're experiencing a critical system failure. We didn't intend to violate your space. We're simply trying to avoid a catastrophic antimatter containment breach." All of Vextrix's eyes widened simultaneously. "You're using antimatter containment technology. Your species is nowhere near ready for such advanced systems." "Ready or not, we built it," Sarah replied. "And right now it's about to fail. We could really use some help." "Help? From us?" Vextrix's scales rippled with what Sarah guessed was amusement. "Your primitive technology would be incompatible with our advanced systems." A new alarm blared through the Pioneer's bridge. "Captain." Maya's voice was sharp with urgency. "Containment field just dropped another 15%. We're looking at 4 hours, max." Sarah watched Vextrix's reaction carefully. The alien commander was clearly torn between protocol and the possibility of an antimatter explosion in conclave space. "Perhaps," Vextrix began, but was cut off by another alarm, this time from their own ship. "High Commander," a subordinate's voice called out, "we're detecting a quantum surge from the nearby nebula. Energy signature matches. By the stars, it's the Void Hunters." Sarah didn't know what Void Hunters were, but from the way Vextrix's scales paled to a sickly white, they weren't friendly. The alien commander's demeanor changed instantly. "Captain Chen, it seems we both have problems. The Void Hunters are cybernetic pirates who specialize in disabling and stripping advanced ships. Your vessel might be primitive, but ours is a prime target. We need to leave immediately. And let me guess, your faster-than-light drive just happened to malfunction?" Sarah asked, noting the new alarms on the alien bridge. Vextrix's scales flushed dark purple, embarrassment, perhaps. "Our quantum drive crystals were damaged passing through an ion storm. We have enough power for weapons and shields, but cannot achieve faster-than-light travel." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "So we're both stuck here with system failures, facing unknown hostile forces. High Commander, I have a crazy suggestion. Your engineering expertise is far too primitive to be of any use." Vextrix interrupted. "Maybe," Sarah conceded, "but we humans have a long history of making primitive technology work in ways it was never intended to. And right now, you need our help as much as we need yours." Before Vextrix could respond, both ships' sensors detected multiple vessels emerging from the nebula. Their angular, asymmetric shapes bristled with weapons, and their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "High Commander, Sarah said quickly, I propose a temporary alliance. You help us with our containment field. We help you with your drive crystals. Together, we might just survive this. Vextrix was silent for a long moment, compound eyes studying the approaching Void Hunter ships. Finally, the alien commander's scales shifted to a deep blue. Your proposal is highly irregular and violates multiple conclave protocols. A pause. But we accept. Sarah nodded. Maya, grab your team and your tools. We're about to attempt something unprecedented in human history. You mean jury-rigging alien tech while pirates try to kill us? Maya's voice held a note of excitement. Just another Tuesday, Hap. As the Void Hunters approached and Maya's engineering team prepared to board the alien vessel, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if this was how humanity would finally prove itself to the galaxy, not through diplomatic finesse or military might, but through good old-fashioned human ingenuity and the ability to make things work when they really shouldn't. The real question was, would their impromptu alliance survive long enough to find out? Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez stared at the alien quantum drive with a mixture of awe and frustration. The technology was beautiful, crystalline structures that seemed to bend light itself, powered by energies she could barely comprehend. But right now, those perfect crystals were cracked and failing, and the Void Hunters were getting closer. You cannot seriously be suggesting we use copper wire, High Commander Vextrix's aide, Science Officer Zix, said with horror. These are quantum-aligned photonic crystals. Maya kept wrapping the copper wire around the crystal matrix, her movements precise despite the aliens' protests. Look, your fancy crystals are cracked. They're losing quantum coherence because the energy isn't flowing properly between the segments. The copper creates an alternate conduction path. That's not how quantum mechanics works. Zix's scales rippled with distress. Maybe not in your textbooks, Maya replied, connecting another wire. But sometimes you have to stop thinking about how things should work and focus on making them work. On the bridge, Captain Chen and High Commander Vextrix watched the sensor displays as 3 Void Hunter vessels moved into attack formation. The 4th hung back, probably coordinating their assault. Your engineer is destroying millions of credits worth of quantum technology, Vextrix said, scales shifting between anxiety purple and anger red. Maya knows what she's doing, Sarah assured them, though she couldn't completely hide her own nervousness. How's the team working on our antimatter containment? Your containment system is. Vextrix paused, searching for a diplomatic term. Surprisingly effective, given its crude design. My engineers are stabilizing it using our shield harmonics. A sudden surge of energy pulsed through both ships. In engineering, Maya let out a whoop of triumph. Captain, quantum drive is online. Well, sort of online. We got maybe 60% efficiency, but it'll move. 60%. Zix sounded faint. That's impossible. The damage should have rendered the system completely inert. Impossible is just another word for hasn't been done yet. Maya replied. Captain, there's a catch. We had to synchronize their drive with our antimatter containment field. The 2 ships need to stay within 500 meters of each other when we jump. Sarah and Vextrix exchanged looks. Connected ships entering quantum space. The alien commander's scales went pale. That's never been attempted. First time for everything, Sarah said. Maya, what are our chances? Well, we either make the jump successfully, scatter our atoms across 3 sectors, or tear a hole in spacetime. I give us 70 to 30 odds in favor of the first option. Those odds are unacceptable, Vextrix protested. Better than the 100% chance of being captured by the Void Hunters, Sarah countered. The pirates were nearly in weapons range. Maya, what do you need? Already on it, Cap, patching our systems together now. Hey, did you know their quantum computers can't even run Doom? Focus, Maya. Right, sorry. Okay, linking power grids. Channeling containment field through their shield matrix, borrowing some duct tape from Jones. Duct tape? Zix's voice hit a new pitch of horror. "Never underestimate the power of duct tape," Maya said solemnly. "All right, quantum drive spooling up. We've got one shot at this, Captain." The copper won't hold for a second jump. The Void Hunters opened fire, their first volley splashing against the Eternal Light's shields. Sarah took a deep breath. "High Commander, it's your drive. Care to do the honors?" Vextrix's scales had settled into a determined blue-green. "This violates every safety protocol in Conclave history." A pause. "Initiating quantum jump in 3, 2, 1. Reality twisted. Both ships, linked by Maya's impossible hybrid of advanced alien tech and basic human engineering, phased into quantum space. The laws of physics protested, but copper wire and duct tape held them together. When they emerged, they were 3 systems away from the Void Hunters. Both ships were intact, though the quantum drive crystals were now fused into shapes that defied Euclidean geometry. "Status report," Sarah called out. "Holy shit, we're alive." Maya's voice was giddy with excitement. "Also, I think we just invented a whole new branch of physics. The aliens are going to need a minute. They're still processing that we actually pulled this off." Indeed, the Conclave engineers were staring at their instruments in shock. Zix was repeatedly scanning the quantum drive, muttering about impossibilities and violations of known science. "High Commander," Sarah said carefully, "I know this isn't exactly standard procedure." "Standard procedure?" Vextrix interrupted. "Your engineer used primitive conducting materials and adhesive strips to modify our most advanced technology. And somehow, the alien commander's scales shifted through colors Sarah couldn't even name. Somehow it worked better than our original specifications." "That's kind of our specialty," Sarah said with a smile. "We might not have the most advanced technology, but we know how to make the most of what we have." "Perhaps," Vextrix said slowly, "the Conclave has been too quick to dismiss human ingenuity. Your methods are unorthodox, but the results—" The commander gestured at the readings. "The results speak for themselves. Does this mean you're not going to arrest us for violating Conclave space?" "I believe we can classify this as a joint research expedition," Vextrix said. "After all, your engineers have demonstrated some interesting applications of quantum mechanics that our scientists will want to study." "Glad to hear it," Sarah replied, "because I think Maya's already planning more modifications to your systems." In engineering, Maya was indeed sketching out new ideas, while Zix watched with a mixture of horror and fascination. The copper wire had worked once. Who knew what other impossible things they might achieve by combining human creativity with alien technology? The adventure, it seemed, was just beginning. The warning klaxon jolted Sarah awake in her temporary quarters aboard the Eternal Light. 2 weeks had passed since their quantum-linked escape, and the combined crews had been working non-stop to integrate their technologies in ways that horrified traditional Conclave engineers but produced unprecedented results. "Captain to the bridge," Vextrix's voice echoed through the ship's comm system. "We have a situation." Sarah was moving before the message finished. She'd learned to read the alien commander's tonal shifts. This wasn't just routine concern. The bridge of the Eternal Light had changed dramatically. Sleek holographic displays now sat alongside sturdy human LCD screens. Maya's team had rewired half the ship's systems, creating what she called the best of both worlds. The Conclave engineers had eventually stopped protesting, especially after seeing the efficiency improvements. "What's the situation?" Sarah asked, noting the tension in Vextrix's posture. "Void Hunters," the commander replied, scales shifting to battle red. "An entire fleet this time. They must have tracked our quantum signature." The tactical display showed 12 enemy vessels approaching in attack formation. The Eternal Light and Pioneer were still linked by their hybrid systems. Separating them would require days of careful decoupling. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Park announced from his newly installed human communication station. The main screen activated, revealing a figure that made Sarah's blood run cold. The Void Hunters were cyborgs, But this leader was more machine than organic. Metallic implants had replaced most of their original form, leaving only one natural eye in a face of chrome and steel. Interesting modification to your quantum drive signature, the cyborg said, their voice carrying electronic harmonics. Our analysis suggests impossible physics. We look forward to studying your technology after we disable your vessels. You assume you can disable us, Vextrix replied, mandibles clicking in challenge. We have 12 ships to your 2, and one of them is a primitive human vessel. Our analysis gives us a 99.8% chance of victory. Maya's voice cut in from engineering. Hey Cap, remember that weird idea I had about using the quantum field bleed-off to supercharge our weapons? The one Zix said would definitely explode. Sarah asked. That's the one. Want to test it? Sarah glanced at Vextrix, who had learned to recognize her slight smile. The alien commander's scales shifted to approval blue. Do it. The Void Hunter leader was still talking. Surrender now, and we'll ensure your crews survive to witness the advancement of. They stopped as their sensors detected the energy spike from the linked ships. Maya had theorized that the quantum field leakage from their jury-rigged drive could be channeled into the Eternal Light's weapon systems. The Conclave engineers had insisted it was impossible. They'd said the same thing about copper wire. Fire, Vextrix ordered. The Eternal Light's main cannon fired, but the beam was unlike anything a Conclave ship had produced before. The quantum-enhanced energy blast cut through space like a laser scalpel, slicing clean through the lead Void Hunter ship's shields and hull. Holy shit, Maya whispered over the comm. That worked way better than I expected. The Void Hunters broke formation, clearly reassessing their battle strategy. Their leader's organic eye widened in shock as their flagship began to drift, its systems overloaded by the quantum feedback. Hit them again, Sarah ordered. Maya, how many shots can we manage? 3, maybe 4 before the copper melts. But I've got Jones running more wire through the secondary systems. Give me 2 minutes and we can route power through the Pioneer's antimatter containment field. You cannot contain quantum energy in an antimatter field. 6 protested. The theoretical interactions alone. Less theory, more action. Maya interrupted. Jones, how's that wiring coming? The Void Hunters recovered from their initial shock and opened fire. Their weapons were advanced, but the hybrid shields Maya's team had created using both human and conclave technology held firm. Shields at 95%, 6 reported, unable to keep the amazement from their voice. The harmonic resonance between our systems is actually strengthening the barrier with each hit. That's not possible, the Void Hunter leader said, their mechanical voice showing emotion for the first time. Fear. We get that a lot, Sarah replied. Maya, status on that power routing. Done. You've got 5 more shots, plus whatever chaos happens when antimatter containment meets quantum fields. Might want to warn everyone to hold on to something. The next few minutes were a symphony of impossible physics. The linked ships moved as one, their hybrid systems producing effects that violated half the known laws of science. Quantum-enhanced beams sliced through Void Hunter shields like paper. When they tried to jump away, the quantum wake from the hybrid drives scattered their formations. In the end, the Void Hunters retreated, leaving their disabled flagship behind. The cyborg leader's final transmission was cut short as their systems failed, but their expression of utter disbelief was clear. Damage report. Vextrix asked once the battle was over. Minor shield depletion, some burned out copper wire, and Jones used up our entire supply of duct tape, Maya reported. Give me an hour and we'll be ready for round 2. I don't think that will be necessary, Sarah said, watching the Void Hunters flee. Something tells me they'll be avoiding us for a while. Captain, Zix's voice was hesitant. The Conclave will want a detailed report of this battle. How do I explain that we violated 17 different laws of physics using copper wire and adhesive strips? Tell them the truth, Vextrix said, scales showing amusement gold. Tell them that sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the most effective one. Sometimes you need a human engineer with copper wire and impossible ideas. And duct tape, Maya added. Never forget the duct tape. As the crews began repairs and collected data from their impossible victory, Sarah couldn't help but smile. They'd just proved that human ingenuity combined with alien technology could create something greater than the sum of its parts. The real question was, what would they achieve next? News travels fast in space, especially when it involves the impossible. Within days of their victory over the Void Hunters, the linked ships Eternal Light and Pioneer had become the subject of intense speculation throughout the galactic community. The sight of a conclave warship modified with human technology had sent shockwaves through established power structures. Another diplomatic request, Lieutenant Park announced, adding to the growing list on his display. The hegemony of 7 suns wants to send a technical delegation. Sarah rubbed her temples. They'd received similar requests from 15 different species in the past week. What's their technological level? Far beyond Earth's, Vextrix answered, scales shifting thoughtfully. But they've stagnated over the last century. Their engineers are brilliant, but rigid. Sounds familiar, Maya called from her workstation, where she was teaching a group of conclave engineers how to improvise with limited resources. Hey Jones, show them that thing with the coffee maker and the quantum stabilizer. The resulting explosion was small, but the look of revelation on the alien engineers' faces was worth it. High Commander, a new voice cut through the comm system. Priority message from Conclave Central Command. Vextrix's scales paled slightly. The Conclave's conservative leadership had been suspiciously quiet about their unorthodox modifications. Put it through to my private chamber. Captain Chen, would you join me? The message was from Grand Admiral Kexti, the highest-ranking military officer in the Conclave. His massive hologram loomed over them, scales set in traditional command purple. High Commander Vextrix, he began, voice heavy with authority. Your recent activities have caused quite a stir. The Conclave Council is divided. Some call for your immediate removal from command. Others wish to study these human modifications. The results speak for themselves, Admiral, Vextrix replied. Our combat effectiveness has increased by 300%. Power efficiency is at unprecedented levels. Even our life support systems are operating beyond theoretical maximums. Using primitive materials and rejected theoretical principles. The Admiral's scales flushed with disapproval. The Conclave has spent millennia perfecting our technology. We cannot simply abandon our methods because some humans achieved lucky results with copper wire. With respect, Admiral, Sarah interjected, maybe that's exactly why you should consider our methods. You've perfected your technology within certain parameters, but we're showing you what's possible when you think outside those boundaries. And who are you to lecture the Conclave on technological advancement? Kexti demanded. I'm the captain of a ship you considered primitive, helping command a hybrid vessel that just defeated the galaxy's most notorious pirates using technology you thought impossible. Sarah met his compound eyes steadily. We're not asking you to abandon your methods. We're offering to help you expand them. Before the Admiral could respond, multiple alerts sounded throughout both ships. Maya's voice cut through the alarms. Captain, Commander, we've got incoming. Multiple ships just dropped out of quantum space. Signatures match Sentinel Empire vessels. The Sentinel Empire, a machine civilization that had been pushing against conclave borders for decades. Their ships were automated, ruthlessly efficient, and completely alien to human understanding. This discussion will continue later, Admiral Kexti said grimly. Defend conclave space, Commander, according to protocol. The hologram vanished, leaving Sarah and Vextrix sharing a knowing look. Protocol meant using only approved conclave methods, no human modifications. Your orders, High Commander. Six asked as they returned to the bridge. 5 Sentinel warships were approaching, their crystalline hulls reflecting starlight like faceted diamonds. Vextrix's scales shifted through several colors before settling on determination blue. Captain Chen, I believe your engineer had some interesting ideas about adapting our quantum field generators. Maya, Sarah called out. Remember that crazy plan you said might turn our quantum wake into a weapon? The one that violates 3 laws of thermodynamics. Ready whenever you are, Cap. Jones already ran the copper wiring. And Zix finally admitted that human capacitors work better than quantum buffers for raw power storage. The Sentinel ships moved into attack formation, their AI calculating optimal firing solutions based on known conclave capabilities. They weren't programmed to account for human improvisation. Multiple targeting locks, Park reported. They're charging weapons. Maya, Sarah said, show them what happens when human ingenuity meets alien technology. What followed would be discussed in military academies, both human and alien, for generations. The hybrid ship's quantum wake, modified by Maya's impossible theories and human electronics, created distortions that the Sentinel's AI couldn't process. Their perfect formations broke apart as their networks struggled to compensate for weapons that shouldn't exist and shields that defied their calculations. Their AI is adapting, Zix reported, excitement overriding their usual reserve. But the quantum fluctuations from our modified drive are creating too many variables. They can't predict our capabilities because their processors can't accept that our modifications are possible. Sometimes the best weapon is impossibility, Vextrix observed, watching as another Sentinel ship's systems crashed trying to analyze their hybrid technology. The battle was brief but decisive. The Sentinel ships retreated, their AIs fundamentally altered by encountering technology that broke their understanding of physics. The incident would be reported throughout the galaxy. Conclave and human hybrid ships defeating the most advanced AI warfare systems using modifications that no respected engineer would consider possible. Sometimes the best weapon is impossibility, Vextrix observed, watching as another Sentinel ship's systems crashed trying to analyze their hybrid technology. The battle was brief but decisive. The Sentinel ships retreated, their AIs fundamentally altered by encountering technology that broke their understanding of physics. The incident would be reported throughout the galaxy. Conclave and human hybrid ships defeating the most advanced AI warfare systems using modifications that no respected engineer would consider possible. As they watched the Sentinels flee, Sarah turned to Vextrix. Think this will change the Admiral's mind about human innovation. The alien commander's scales showed a new color, one that might have been hope. It will certainly begin a conversation. The real question is, are both our peoples ready for how that conversation might change everything we think we know about technology? Ready or not? Maya chimed in. Change is coming. Hey, has anyone seen where Jones went with that quantum-enhanced coffee maker? I think he's trying to make it achieve sentience. The resulting chaos was just another day aboard the galaxy's most impossible ship, where human creativity and alien technology were revolutionizing the very foundations of space travel, one piece of copper wire at a time. Grand Admiral Kexty's ultimatum echoed through the combined bridge of the Eternal Light and Pioneer. Remove these primitive modifications and return to conclave space for decommissioning, or be declared rogue elements. You have one planetary rotation to comply. Sarah exchanged looks with Vextrix, whose scales had settled into a color she'd never seen before, something between determination and revolution. Around them, human and conclave crew members worked seamlessly together at their hybrid stations, the product of a month's worth of impossible achievements. Well, Maya's voice came through the comm. That's gratitude for you. We only defeated the Void Hunters, drove back the Sentinel Empire, and revolutionized quantum physics. No big deal. The Admiral's ultimatum isn't just about us, Vextrix said, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Our success threatens millennia of established doctrine. The Conclave built its power on technological superiority through rigid advancement. We've proven there's another way. Incoming transmission, Park announced. Multiple sources. Sir, you're going to want to see this. The main screen split into several sections. Sarah recognized representatives from various species they'd encountered over the past month. the hegemony of 7 suns, the Quantum Collective, even a reformed splinter group of void hunters who'd been fascinated by their hybrid technology. "We've been monitoring the situation," the hegemony's chancellor said. "The Conclave cannot be allowed to suppress this technological revolution. Our civilizations have grown stagnant following the Conclave's prescribed paths," added the Quantum Collective's director. "What you've achieved with human innovation proves there are infinite possibilities we've never considered." Multiple quantum signatures detected. Zix called out, "Conclave battle fleet incoming." 20? No, 30 vessels. The fleet materialized around them, led by the Admiral's flagship, a vessel 3 times the size of the Eternal Light. But they weren't alone. Ships from their alien allies were arriving too, taking position alongside the hybrid vessels. "This is your final warning," Admiral Kexti's voice boomed. "Stand down and—" "Admiral," Sarah interrupted, "with respect, you should scan our ship one last time before starting this fight. Maya, show them what we did with the quantum field generators." "With pleasure, Cap." "Hey Jones, fire up the coffee maker." The hybrid ship's quantum field expanded, but it was different now. Maya and her team had been busy, integrating ideas from every allied species that had visited. The field rippled with possibilities, each fluctuation representing a different civilization's contribution to their impossible science. What have you done?" The Admiral's voice shook as his sensors tried to analyze the hybrid field. "We created something new," Vextrix replied. "Not human, not conclave, not any single species technology. Something greater than the sum of its parts. Their quantum field is resonating with our systems," one of the Admiral's officers reported, panic evident. "It's improving them." "That's impossible." "That's kind of our specialty," Maya chimed in. "Turns out copper wire conducts quantum resonance really well when you stop telling it can't." The battle that followed would rewrite military doctrine across the galaxy. The hybrid ships moved like dancers through space, their impossible field touching each allied vessel, sharing their innovations through pure physics. Conclave weapons fired with perfect precision, but couldn't hit targets that violated their theoretical limitations. Shields failed against attacks that shouldn't exist. Multiple Conclave vessels showing system improvements, Zix reported, their voice filled with wonder. The quantum resonance is teaching their technology new possibilities. "Admiral," Sarah broadcast openly, "we don't want to fight. We want to share what we've learned. Every species has something to contribute. Conclave precision, human ingenuity, hegemony theory, quantum collective principles. Together, we're achieving things none of us could do alone." The Admiral's flagship hung in space, weapons armed but silent. Around it, more Conclave ships were experiencing spontaneous improvements as the hybrid field touched them, their crews watching in amazement as systems evolved beyond their designs. Finally, Admiral Kexti spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "The Conclave has stood for perfect order since the dawn of interstellar civilization. We believe advancement could only come through careful, controlled progress. Sometimes the greatest advances come from chaos," Vextrix replied. "From trying the impossible simply because no one said it could be done. Like using duct tape on quantum crystals," Maya added helpfully. A long moment of silence followed. Sarah could almost feel the revolution balancing on a knife's edge. Then, incredibly, Admiral Kexti's scales shifted to a color she'd never seen before, one that made Vextrix gasp in shock. "That's the color of paradigm shift," Vextrix whispered. "It hasn't been seen in the Conclave for 10,000 years. "High Commander Vextrix, Captain Chin," the Admiral said formally. "The Conclave hereby requests technical assistance. Perhaps it's time we learned some new ways of thinking." The bridge erupted in cheers, human and alien voices mingling in celebration. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she watched former enemies become partners, their ships linked by Maya's impossible field of quantum possibilities. "Hey Cap," Maya called up. "Remember when we were just trying to fix a broken antimatter containment field?" Think we qualify for a patent on all this?" Sarah laughed. "I think we got something better than a patent. We got a whole galaxy ready to learn that impossible is just another word for hasn't been tried yet." Speaking of trying things, Maya added, "Jones and I had this idea about using quantum fields to make pizza." As the celebrations continued and plans for a new galactic technical exchange were drawn up, Sarah looked out at the assembled fleet. Conclave ships side by side with vessels from a dozen species, all linked by human innovation and alien technology. They had done more than save their ships or prove their worth. They had sparked a revolution that would reshape the galaxy. And it all started with some copper wire, duct tape, and the human tendency to ignore the impossible in favor of getting things done. The universe, it seemed, would never be the same. But then again, that was kind of what humans did best.